In the Igris Kodesh of the Frierdiker Rebbe, 10th volume, page base, there's a letter from the Frierdiker Rebbe to Reb Nissen Nemenov. And there he writes concerning the question that some Talmidim had whether they're allowed to eat something before davening. And the Frierdiker Rebbe writes that if they're careful to say Krishma Ktana with Tefilin before, then they're allowed to eat some Mazonos before davening. Krishma Ktana is if a person wants to be Yetzer the mitzvah of Krishma before davening. For whatever reason, maybe sometimes he's going to daven late, and by the time they get to Krishma in davening, it'll be after the Zaman Krishma. So you want to be Yetzer the mitzvah of Krishma before. Or whatever other reason that you want to be Yetzer the mitzvah of Krishma first. That's called Krishma Ktana. So the Frierdiker Rebbe writes here that if you say Krishma Ktana with Tefilin, then you're able to eat afterwards something. Now in the Ha'oras they write that the Rebbe spoke about the Sinyan, whether you have to say Krishma Ktana with Tefilin or not. In Shabbos Pasha Shlach Tovshin Yud Beis, the Rebbe mentioned that in his Rishimis he writes that the Frierdiker Rebbe told him that his father, the Rebbe Rashab, would say Krishma Ktana with Tefilin. But the Rebbe says, nevertheless, most people don't say Krishma Ktana with Tefilin. They don't wear Tefilin when they say Krishma Ktana. And the Rebbe asked the Shaila, how could you do that? The Gemara says, if you say Krishma without Tefilin, you're basically testifying falsely, because you're saying in Krishma that you have to put on Tefillin, and you're not wearing Tefillin. So it's like you're testifying falsely. So how could it be that people say Krishma Ktana to be Yetzer the mitzvah of Krishma without Tefillin? And the Rebbe explains that this whole din that if you don't wear Tefillin while you're saying Krishma is made a sheker is only if you don't plan to put on Tefillin later. But if while you're saying the Krishma you do plan, you know that you're going to put on Tefillin later, then there's no problem with saying Krishma without Tefillin. And the Rebbe brings a whole shakla, a whole discussion about it. The only thing is, the Rebbe doesn't speak there about doing it before eating. Because in the Frierdiker Rebbe's letter, there it talks about eating before davening. So he says, in order to eat before davening, you have to say Krishma with Tefillin. The Rebbe here just speaks about saying Krishma to be Yetzer the mitzvah of Krishma, that you don't really have to wear Tefillin when you do that. But he doesn't say anything if you want to eat or not. L'poel, many people, even when they come to eat something, they don't say Krishma with Tefillin. And the Frierdiker Rebbe writes in this letter that you should. Now, a few years ago, was printed a letter of the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Leibel Yitzchak, to the Rebbe. And there the Rebbe's father writes to him that I heard that you fast a lot. And he said, where did you get this? And don't do this. He's telling him not to fast. Bechal, the Rebbe would fast a lot. He says not to fast. And he says not only you shouldn't fast, but you should even eat before davening. And he says, but with laning Krishma first. And then he adds, if it's not hard, also to put on Tefillin. So from this letter, we see two things. That it's better if you do say Krishma Ktana with Tefillin before you eat anything, before davening. But on the other hand, it's not a must. Because he says, if it's not hard, then you should also lay in Krishma before eating with Tefillin. Is mashma that he holds that if you don't do it, is nish gefährlich. It's just only if it's easy, it's not hard, then you should also put on Tefillin. From the Frierdiker Rebbe's letter is mashma that you should be careful with saying Krishma Ktana with Tefillin before you eat. But he just has the word nishar, and you should be careful to do it. But the Rebbe's father makes it very clear that it's better if it's easy. But if it's not so easy, then it doesn't matter if you say Krishma Ktana without Tefillin, and then you're able to eat.